Have you ever scrolled through listings online, looking at houses you know you can't afford, and just felt that pit in your stomach? That feeling of being left behind? We're told our whole lives that the goal is to buy a house, that renting is throwing money away, that owning a home is the only way to build real wealth. But what if that's not just old advice? What if right now it's a dangerous lie? My name is Andrew Meet Rich, and I'm a personal money and life strategist. But I wasn't always. I used to be broke, stressed, and absolutely ashamed to check my bank balance. I made every money mistake you can think of, especially when it came to houses. I bought into the dream and it almost cost me everything. But I figured it out. I rebuilt my finances and my entire mindset. And now I want to help you do the same. Today, we're going to talk about the housing market. But we're not just going to talk about interest rates. We're going to talk about the psychology of the housing trap. We'll break down the real cost of owning versus renting. And I'll show you why. For the first time in a long time, the smart financial move might be to do the one thing everyone tells you not to do. So please, click that like and subscribe button. Even if today's topic doesn't feel super relevant, the next one could change your life. I remember the pressure to buy my first place. I was in my late 20s, and everyone around me was doing it. My parents were asking, "Andrew, why are you still paying someone else's mortgage?" I'd go to a friend's barbecue, and the whole conversation was about new decks and kitchen islands. I felt like a failure. So I scraped together every penny I had, emptied my savings, and I bought a small condo. I finally had the keys. I was a homeowner, and I was miserable. I was instantly house poor. Every single paycheck was gone before it even hit my account. The mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the special assessment for the new roof I didn't even know we needed. Then the water heater exploded. I remember sitting on the floor in my dream home, surrounded by towels, practically in tears. I realized I hadn't bought an asset. I had bought a very expensive, very stressful new job that I could not quit. I wasn't building wealth, I was building anxiety. I had trapped myself by chasing someone else's dream. And here's where most people get stuck. They confuse the price of the house with the cost of their life. So here's the first mental trap we fall into. I call it the Zillow fantasy. You buy a house, and a year later you look it up online and it says it's worth $15,000 more than you paid. You feel like a genius. You think, wow, I made $15,000. But did you? Let's do the real math. Let's just use the numbers for a typical median-priced home right now. You might have paid, say, $20,000 in mortgage interest that year. That's gone to the bank. You paid another $4,000 in property taxes. Gone. $2,000 in insurance. Gone. And let's be conservative and say you only spent $4,000 on maintenance and repairs. That leaky faucet, the new paint. That's $30,000 out of your pocket that you will never see again. Plus, what about that massive down payment? That $100,000 you tied up? That could have been earning you 4 or 5% safely somewhere else. That's another 4 or 5 grand. So you spent almost $35,000 in real, actual cash to make $15,000 in fantasy internet numbers. You didn't make money, you lost $20,000. The reframe here is crucial. We have to stop looking at our homes as a high-growth investment and start seeing them as what they are, a place to live, which is an expense. The action step is simple. Before you ever look at another listing, find a rent versus buy calculator online. And I want you to be honest. Put in all the numbers, taxes, insurance, and at least 1% of the home's value for maintenance. Look at the total monthly cost. Then ask yourself one question. Does this number buy me freedom, or does this number buy me a prison? Okay, but Andrew, I can hear you yelling at the screen, renting is just throwing money away. At least with a house, I'm building equity. This is the #1 psychological defense we use to justify a bad decision. So let's reframe this, because this belief is a trap. Right now, in almost every single state, buying a house is 50% more expensive than renting that same house. 50%. Let that sink in. So let's say the mortgage on a house is $3,000 a month. But you could rent an identical house next door for $2,000. The person who says renting is throwing money away is missing the point. The renter is saving $1,000 in cash every single month. The buyer isn't building equity with that extra $1,000. They are setting it on fire. It's going straight to the bank as interest and to the government as taxes. Plus, they are responsible for the broken roof. So who is really throwing money away? The renter, who is saving $1,000? Or the owner, who is paying $1,000 premium just for the privilege of owning? The insight is this. Renting is not throwing money away. It is buying flexibility at a massive discount. The action step is to weaponize the difference. Take that $1,000 you're saving by renting and invest it. Put it in a simple index fund. Put it in a high-yield savings account. You will build real wealth, liquid wealth you can actually use, faster than the person who is shackled to a payment they can barely afford. So why is this happening? Why does it feel so impossible? We love to find a single boogeyman. We love to say it's all the big hedge funds buying up the houses. But the data just doesn't support that. The truth is, that's a tiny, tiny fraction of the market, and right now, even they are selling, because it's unprofitable. No, the problem is simpler, and it's staring us right in the face. First, you have millions of people who locked in those crazy low 2 or 3% interest rates a few years ago. They are never going to sell. Why would they? This means there is no supply of homes. Second, the government, with good intentions, keeps trying to help people buy. But just like with student loans, what happens when the government makes it easier to borrow more money? Does the price go down? No, the price goes up. They aren't helping you buy a house, they are helping the seller get a higher price from you. The reframe is this. The system is not designed to make housing affordable. It's designed to make housing expensive. It's an artificial system designed to protect the equity of people who already own homes at the expense of those who don't. So the action step is this. Stop waiting for the system to save you. Stop waiting for a crash. Stop waiting for rates to drop. The only person who can save you is you. You have to unplug from the dream and make the cold, hard, logical decision that works for your bank account, not for the banks and not for the sellers. Look, we've been told a story our whole lives, a story that says you're a loser if you rent and a winner if you own. Today, we looked at the real numbers, and they tell a very different story. Right now, for most people, the winners are the ones staying flexible, saving that extra cash, and avoiding the house poor trap. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't let anyone, not your parents, not your friends, and not me, tell you what your dream should be. If buying a house is truly right for you, if you plan to be there for 10 or 20 years, and you have run the real numbers, then do it. But if it's not, that is okay. You are not a failure. You are smart. You are a strategist. You are playing the real game, not the one they told you to play. Remember, the small shift of choosing to rent for 2 or 3 more years could be the massive change that allows you to build real wealth, not just a pile of house-shaped debt. Because buying a house isn't the only money lie we've been told. Next time, we're going to talk about the biggest career mistake I see people make with their very first paycheck. It's something I did for 10 years, and it cost me a fortune.